Adam Smith's The Theory of Moral Sentiments, first published in 1759, is a foundational work in moral philosophy that explores the nature of human morality and ethics. In this book, Smith investigates the psychological underpinnings of moral judgment, emphasizing the role of sympathy, or what we might call empathy today, as the foundation of our moral actions and judgments. Smith's ideas laid the groundwork for his later work, The Wealth of Nations, but the theory of moral sentiments remains crucial for understanding his broader philosophical and economic views. The nature of sympathy. At the heart of Smith's theory is the concept of sympathy, which he describes as the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. Sympathy, for Smith, is the basis of moral judgment. We make moral decisions by imagining how others would feel in a given situation and by considering how an impartial spectator would view our actions. Smith argues that human beings are naturally social creatures, and our interactions with others are guided by this capacity for sympathy. When we see someone in distress, for example, we naturally feel a degree of that person's pain. This feeling motivates us to offer help or show compassion, not out of self-interest, but because we genuinely care about the other person's well-being. Sympathy, however, is not perfect. We often sympathize more with those who are close to us, family, friends, or people we know personally, than with strangers or distant others. This limitation means that our moral judgments can be biased, and Smith acknowledges that true moral judgment requires us to step beyond our immediate circle of concern. The impartial spectator. To overcome the biases of partial sympathy, Smith introduces the concept of the impartial spectator. This is an imaginary figure who represents an objective point of view, free from personal biases or vested interests. The impartial spectator is a mental construct that allows us to evaluate our actions and the actions of others from a standpoint of fairness and justice. When we consider how an impartial spectator would judge our actions, we are more likely to make morally sound decisions. This idea helps explain how we can develop a sense of right and wrong that transcends our personal interests or immediate emotional responses. It also explains the social nature of morality. Our moral judgments are shaped by how we believe others will perceive our actions, and we seek approval from this imagined impartial observer. Self-interest and virtue. Smith is often associated with the idea of self-interest, particularly through his later work on economics. However, in the theory of moral sentiments, he presents a more nuanced view of self-interest. While he acknowledges that self-interest is a powerful motivator, he argues that it is tempered by our capacity for sympathy and our concern for the approval of the impartial spectator. Smith distinguishes between prudence, or the virtue of self-interest, and other virtues such as benevolence and justice. Prudence involves looking out for one's own well-being and making decisions that ensure one's long-term happiness and success. However, a person who is solely guided by prudence, without regard for the well-being of others, would be morally deficient. Virtue, in Smith's view, requires a balance between self-interest and concern for others. A virtuous person acts in ways that are both prudent and benevolent, seeking to achieve personal happiness while also considering the impact of their actions on others. The truly virtuous person, according to Smith, is one who aligns their self-interest with the welfare of others, creating harmony between individual and collective well-being. The role of justice. Justice plays a central role in Smith's moral theory. He argues that while benevolence is an important virtue, it cannot be demanded of others in the same way that justice can. Justice, for Smith, is the foundation of social order, and violations of justice, such as theft, fraud, or violence, are universally condemned because they threaten the fabric of society. Smith distinguishes between two kinds of justice: commutative justice and distributive justice. Commutative justice involves the protection of individuals' rights and the enforcement of contracts, ensuring that people are treated fairly in their interactions with one another. Distributive justice, on the other hand, concerns the allocation of resources and wealth in society, and while Smith acknowledges its importance, he is more focused on the role of commutative justice in maintaining social order. Smith believes that justice is primarily concerned with preventing harm to others. While we cannot force people to be benevolent, we can and must demand that they refrain from harming others. This focus on justice as the prevention of harm reflects Smith's view that social stability and cooperation depend on a basic respect for the rights and interests of others. The limits of sympathy and the role of custom. Smith recognizes that sympathy has its limits. Our ability to sympathize with others is influenced by our own experiences, biases, and cultural norms. For example, we might sympathize more with someone who shares our background or beliefs than with someone who is different from us. This selective sympathy can lead to partiality and injustice. To address these limitations, Smith emphasizes the importance of custom and habit in shaping our moral sentiments. Customs and social norms provide a framework for moral behavior, guiding our actions and helping us develop a sense of right and wrong. While customs can vary widely across different societies, Smith argues that they play a crucial role in shaping our moral judgments and ensuring social cohesion. However, Smith also warns against blindly following custom. He acknowledges that customs can be flawed or unjust, and he encourages individuals to use their capacity for reason and the impartial spectator to critically evaluate the customs of their society. In this way, Smith advocates for a balance between respecting social norms and exercising independent moral judgment. The pursuit of happiness. One of the central themes of the theory of moral sentiments is the pursuit of happiness. Smith argues that true happiness is not found in the pursuit of wealth or power, but in the cultivation of virtue and the development of meaningful relationships with others. While material success can contribute to happiness, it is not sufficient on its own. True happiness, according to Smith, comes from living a life that is in harmony with our moral principles and in accordance with the approval of the impartial spectator. Smith also explores the idea of self-command, or the ability to regulate one's desires and emotions in pursuit of a virtuous life. Self-command is essential for achieving true happiness, as it allows individuals to resist the temptations of immediate gratification and to act in ways that are consistent with their long-term goals and moral values. Smith believes that the pursuit of happiness is a deeply social endeavor. Our happiness is closely tied to the well-being of others, and we find fulfillment not only in our own achievements but also in our relationships and contributions to society. This social dimension of happiness reflects Smith's broader view that human beings are naturally inclined to care for others and to seek approval from the impartial spectator. The role of the state and institutions. While the theory of moral sentiments is primarily concerned with individual morality, Smith also touches on the role of the state and institutions in promoting moral behavior. He argues that the state has a responsibility to uphold justice and protect the rights of individuals, ensuring that people can pursue their own happiness without infringing on the rights of others. Smith is cautious about the role of government in regulating moral behavior, however. He believes that moral sentiments are best developed through personal relationships and social interactions, rather than through coercive state intervention. The state's role, in Smith's view, should be limited to enforcing justice and maintaining social order, allowing individuals the freedom to develop their own moral values and virtues. Smith also emphasizes the importance of education in shaping moral sentiments. He argues that education should not only provide individuals with knowledge and skills but also cultivate their capacity for sympathy, self-command, and moral judgment. A well-rounded education, in Smith's view, is essential for the development of virtuous citizens and a just society. Legacy and influence. The theory of moral sentiments has had a profound influence on moral philosophy, economics, and social theory. Smith's ideas about sympathy, the impartial spectator, and the role of custom and habit have shaped subsequent discussions of morality and ethics. His emphasis on the social nature of morality and the importance of justice has also influenced debates about the role of the state and institutions in promoting social welfare and individual well-being. In addition to its impact on moral philosophy, the theory of moral sentiments provides important context for understanding Smith's later work on economics. While the wealth of nations is often seen as advocating for self-interest and free markets, the theory of moral sentiments reveals Smith's deeper concern with the moral foundations of economic behavior and the need for virtue and justice in ensuring a fair and prosperous society. Smith's work continues to be relevant today, as we grapple with questions of morality, justice, and the pursuit of happiness in a complex and interconnected world. The theory of moral sentiments reminds us that our moral judgments are shaped by our capacity for sympathy and our concern for the approval of others, and that true happiness is found in the cultivation of virtue and the pursuit of a life that is in harmony with our moral principles. Conclusion. The theory of moral sentiments is a rich and nuanced exploration of human morality, offering insights into the nature of sympathy, the role of the impartial spectator, and the importance of justice and virtue in our lives. Smith's work challenges us to think critically about our moral values and to strive for a balance between self-interest and concern for others. His emphasis on the social nature of morality and the pursuit of happiness remains as relevant today as it was in the 18th century, offering timeless guidance for living a moral and fulfilling life.